Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijayendra Singh Tawa, Associate Professor in English, and at present, I have been posted at Government College, Gudha in the Jammu district. The series of video lectures, which is being prepared by me in this regard, today's video lecture is meant for the students of class BA Part 2nd, subject English Literature, paper 1st. And in this video, we will talk about the critical appreciation of Arun Kolatkar's famous poem, The Bus. As we have already done its explanation, so by now you are well acquainted with Arun Kolatkar. Just to make you remember again, let us discuss about his life and achievements, we can say. Arun Kolatkar was a Maharashtrian. He was born in 1932 and died in 2004. His mother tongue was Marathi, and he also learned English. When he learned both the languages, he started writing poems and other works in both the languages. So we can say he was a bilingual poet. He has written poetry in his mother tongue, that is in Marathi, as well as in English. And the most remarkable thing about him is that he has made himself popular and found a respectable place in both the languages. He was admired and appreciated by the critics of both the languages for his achievements. As he was an Indian and he used to write in English, so we can say he was an Indo-Anglian poet. His contribution to Indo-Anglian poetry is quite substantial, considerable. And it is on the strength of that contribution that he is now reckoned among the dozen or so major Indo-Anglian poets because of his contribution, number of poems, number of achievements. He is regarded as one of the greatest Indo-Anglian poets. Though he has displayed his talent in other fields also, in movies, pictures, as he lived in Bombay, he is famous in the field of literature for his two major poems. One is The Boat Ride and other is Jejuri. Both of these poems are the collection of or a sequence of poems. They consist of sequence of poems. His long poem, Jejuri, was published in 1976. It is a collection of 31 poems, sequence from 1 to 31. And this poem, Jejuri, was so much appreciated and liked by critics that in 1977, he was given the prize of Commonwealth Prize for Poetry. His other small poems are very pensive and most realistic in nature. That he is a realistic poet, you can say. And he is famous for his popular poem, Jejuri. And The Bus, which is we are going to do, or of which critical episode we are talking, is the opening poem of the sequence of 31 sections of Jejuri. This is a descriptive poem and it describes the bumpy journey from the starting point to its destination, which is the temple of Khandoba. Jejuri is the name of a place, and the place is famous for the temple of Khandoba, and many Hindus from all parts of the India, particularly from Maharashtra, they go and worship there. The place is situated in the southeast of Pune in Maharashtra. And in this poem, the poet describes his journey to Jejuri. The poet has also, or we can call him poet, narrator, or the protagonist, whatever we may say, that he is the speaker of the poem. He undertakes his journey by the night bus. In other words, he decided to visit Jejuri and he decided to go by bus, and time he selected for the journey is night. The bus which he has selected, or he had no option, by which he is undertaking his journey, is old, rickety, and in a dilapidated condition, in a very bad condition. Let me tell you that 40 years ago, India was not so much advanced. The conditions of the bus were very, very, you can say, bad. As in Rajasthan, we have experienced that how we used to go from one place to place in buses. There were no roads, deserts. Sometimes we had to help the bus. We have to push the bus sometimes so that we can travel from one place to another place. So the bus is in a very bad condition. There are no glass panes on the windows of the bus. Means there is a threat of cold wind may cause problem for the passengers. And another quality of the bus is that it is a state transport bus. Means it is a roadways bus and it is owned by government, but it did not have that kind of facilities which are very common nowadays. So at that time, when the author, or you can say the protagonist, undertook the journey, the windows of the bus were screened by the tarpaulin, means a waterproof cloth. So the whole bus was covered except the front glass, we can say. It is covered so to keep off the possible rainfall and also to keep off the cold wind blowing outside. It is a night journey which the bus has undertaken. Means the time is of night. And after several hours of the arduous journey, it was very difficult journey. The road was uneven, so the passengers were feeling all kinds of trouble. But at the time, that trouble was not counted, so they were taking the journey in the easy mode. The passengers start waiting eagerly for the daybreak. After some time, they started guessing that now the day must have risen. But the bus was covered with waterproof cloth. It was opaque. The tarpaulin is opaque. The passengers cannot see the countryside. The bus is full of the pilgrims who are bound for the temple of Khandoba, where they want to worship, where they have gone because of their faith. There are some passengers who merely want to satisfy their curiosity about what kind of temple it is and in what surroundings the temple stand or situated, just to see, just like a picnic out of curiosity. And there are many people who visit such places, and the author or the protagonist is one of them. Now the poet describes what is the scene of the inside of the bus. One of the passengers sits opposite an old man wearing glasses. The man's reflection is seen in both the glasses of the spectacles which the old man is wearing. It is natural, sometimes we often see it. This passenger can feel the onward movement of the bus. Means he felt that bus is moving in a particular direction, particularly ahead. The old man wears on his forehead a mark indicating his Hindu faith and even the caste to which he belongs. That the old man was having a tilak on his forehead, and it indicates that he belonged to a particular Hindu caste. In the due course, the sun rises in the morning, but it cannot be seen by the passengers, as the bus was covered by buttock of cloth. The sun's rays filtering through the gaps in the tarpaulin falls upon the old man's glasses. Then a ray of the sun falls upon the bus driver's right cheek, that is temple. As he moves in a particular direction, it indicates that the direction of the bus has been changed. The road is also rough. The bus is old and rickety. The idea is it was not a very smooth road, it was uneven road. When the bus was moving, it was producing sound as well as problems, jerking for the passengers. At last, the bumpy bus ride the poet was undertaking came to an end, and the bus reached at its destination. The poet first looks at both the sides of his face and then gets down, making sure that he does not step inside the old man's head. The idea is the destination was reached, and as it was not a clear daylight, so there was a possible danger that he might cause problem for the other passengers. In short, it has been an uncomfortable journey. The poet who undertook the journey was not a very good journey. It was uncomfortable. It created a lot of problems for the poet. But when the destination is reached, that is when he reached Jejuri, the passengers get down from the bus which had held them tightly in its grip. The bus was the only, you can say, vehicle in which they were given. So they were very thankful. They were as if they have been gripped. They were taken under gripped by the bus. But as soon as they reached Jejuri, they felt as if they are now free and they can go freely, they can move freely. And this freedom was not available, or was denied to them when they were inside the bus. Now, this is the end of the poems or thought, development of thought, what has been stated. Now, our comments. The poet's description of the bus is very realistic and practical. So we often find this kind of bus. We feel as if we are also traveling with him, as it reminds us of our past also. The poem is purely descriptive poem which does not give us much of information about the purpose of the journey, apart from telling us that it is going to Jejuri, that it is a night journey with a cold wind blowing all the way. Means we get only little information about the purpose of journey. We are given only this much information, that it is the time of the night when the narrator undertook the journey. It is a state transport bus. It is in very bad condition. and outside a cold wind was blowing. There are a few humorous touches in the poem, as for instance, the protagonist, the main character, the speaker, finding two reflections of himself in the two glasses of the spectacles which the old man sitting opposite him is wearing. The fact is thus described. Your own divided face in a pair of glasses on an old man's nose is all the countryside you get to see. We also learn that it is a bumpy ride at the end of which the passengers get off the bus without anybody stepping inside the old man's head. Then after a lot of problems, they reach their destination. And this is another touch of humor. The poet has given a picturesque description of the bus journey. Means pictorial quality, pictorial talent. The poet has painted the picture of the every minute detail with his writing pen, that is with words. Therein lies the beauty of the poem, and it is the main strength of the poem. The poem is remarkable for use of everyday speech. The poet has used ordinary language of the day-to-day language. The language is simple and easy to understand. Means even a layman can understand the poem quite easily. The poet is straightforward in expression. He does not begin each line of this poem with a capital letter as is the usual practice. We generally, while composing poems, we write the first letter of each line of the poem with a capital letter. But this is not followed in this poem by the speaker, by the narrator, or by the poet. He writes his poem in free verse. He does not follow any rhyme scheme. We can call him an innovator. Something new has been presented through this poem. The poet is very effective and he has achieved his purpose in a masterly manner. Thank you very much.